where do I start with this story? Let's see. Ooh, that's a big raptor. Yeah, that's a bald eagle. So we're living in one of the rentals right now while we're working on the other project. And the sink over here has been making me mad. I don't know. I have forgotten what's happened in the last 20 years, but apparently this is what builder grade looked like 20 years ago. And it leaks a little bit, but it's a cheap POS. And that makes me mad. And I had picked up a decent Kohler sink that had a nicer than what we've got. You know, the brushed nickel with a pull down, you know, a little bit. I would say it's at least 2 levels of an upgrade. This is not like custom fancy faucet, but bottom line, it was free. And this other one's making me mad. So we're going to put the free one in where the cheap POS was. Okay, we have
Start with the doors.
Taken the doors off of the cabinet for easier access. We took all of the things we were storing under here out, and we have laid down a blanket over the nasty lip for our comfort and put down one of the couch cushions to save my hips. And we've turned off the water. Chris says this is the best screwdriver ever, and probably because of that. I need to switch, and my screwdriver has one of these, but it floats everywhere. And so I can see where having this right here with you all the time is vastly improved from having it who knows where. I think it's in that drawer somewhere. So let's see. We need a big flat. That'll work. Yank this guy out. Put this, ooh, yep, I want the bigger end. And put this back where I got that one from. Yes, no. Ta-da! We have to disconnect the dish. She sells seashells at the seashore. Dishwasher, discharge. Disconnect the dishwasher. I can't do it.
Bleep. Take 2.
Air gap thing. Good enough. Okay.
Sure.
We have to disconnect the dishwasher, discharge.
Line. Hose.
Hose?
Hose.
Oh, you're a hoe.
And somebody put the, and you can comment, and somebody put the.
Okay. We have to disconnect the dishwasher. I can't say dishwasher. We have to disconnect the dishwasher discharge hose, and someone put the strap thing on backwards. So, of course, the screw that is of the other type from every other screw in the kitchen is facing away from me in a spot where I can't see it at all.
Oh, there you go.
Holy shit. All right. So I'm disconnecting the water lines. Oh yeah, right. I think it's almost loose enough I can do it with my hand. So I had to call in the big guns to release the corroded on nuts that were underneath this thing. I just didn't have the forearm strength to do it. You can see the grossness that we were dealing with there. And a little more. There. Old POS gone. When last we spoke, we were just replacing the faucet. And we showed you kind of the mess that was under the sink. The more we got into it, the more we realized that all the gaskets and rings and things from 20 years ago were not holding up very well. Plus, again, you know, the storage issue. So we've disassembled everything. Taken it all apart. As you can tell from the change of clothes, we went to the store and to get some parts. So now we're gonna put it back probably the way it should have been done in the first place. So when we removed the old faucet, we knew there were gonna be some holes. And the new faucet that we had procured for free came with a soap dispenser, but the new faucet has the hand sprayer in the faucet. So we have an extra hole. And when we were disassembling the old sink that the new faucet, air quotes, new to us, faucet came on, we actually realized that the soap dispenser had been broken. So while we were at the store getting parts for the P-trap and disposal attachment parts we were wanting to replace, grab a new soap dispenser that will match with the style of the house more than the style of the faucet. I knew I wanted to plug the other hole, but we weren't sure. There were two options when we went to the store. So this little one was appealing because it just pops on and you're done. But it seems to have a little bit of a turtle back to it, so it might stick up a little bit. This one looks like it would stay attached to the sink a little bit better, and also seems to have a more flat profile on top. So $50 later, our free sink project is no longer free, but it will be vastly improved. We have the air gap on the right, whichever one of the little hole plug things next. The sink, we needed something short next to this little pull out thingy. And the soap dispenser.
Yeah, you probably want to make sure you get it threaded right, because otherwise it's going to cross thread.
What? Oh, okay.
Let me do the important part and hand you pieces.
Okay.
Holding pieces in place is a very important job. I'm very good at it. It's a lot of work. Again, doing the important work. Holding things while she tightens them down from below.
You'd think that they would maybe thread these threads just a little bit shorter. So I'm attaching the hand sprayer hose to itself. If you hold your line out straight from the attachment point, it makes it turn easier. So once again, I ran into an issue that was above my pay grade. So what do we call that? The hand sprayer, the little hand sprayer hose attachment, I thought maybe I just don't have strong hands, so I couldn't get it tight. So I sent Master Redneck in, and it was still dripping. So we realized that the little O-ring that goes in where you attach the two parts together was missing, because this was a free faucet. And so we had one laying around, we don't even know what from disassembling something. But wait, I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
You just ruined the whole story.
All right, take a second cut. Okay, go for it.
Man, okay. So we found a little O-ring that was laying around from who knows even what from disassembling the old sink parts. Tried that, and it was still leaking. So we looked at each other and said, oh, you want to go back to the hardware store again? No, nobody wants to go back to the hardware store. So again, master level redneck finds a piece of the, which hose was that? That was the, are you going to tell this part of the story?
I can tell you where this came from. So what happened is the dishwasher discharge line has a small and a wide collar. And the wide collar was full of stuff we're not going to talk about because it was nasty. I cut it off because it was in the way. that left me with a little piece of rubber hose. So I took it out and very carefully nibbled it down to the size of the fitting, and then heated up the pointy part off my scribe over the gas flame and slowly made a hole in the center of my improvised gasket. And voila! We have a gasket.
I actually didn't want to tell this story because I didn't want anyone to know how to do what he did and try it at home, because it's probably not a good idea. However, if one does not have a gas stove, would any flame work? You just have to make your sharp piece of metal that you don't care about getting rubber all over. It just has to get hot, right?
Yeah, if you've got like one of those little itty bitty butane torches that they use for creme brulee. Yeah, that's what they mostly get used for, is the creme brulee torches. You can heat up something sharp and pointy and make a hole in your rubber gasket like that. That's the diameter of the hose, the inside of the hose that you're trying to do.
AKA the water flow hole.
Yeah, water flow hole, that's technical. Wow.
And success?
Yep.
Is this so what do we get to say? Huzzah?
Oh, I did. Huzzah, 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 my gaskets work. And by the way, this is, for just general disclaimer, this is pretty much, high-level redneckery. For your average person, there's a lot of risk involved. Burning fingers, pointing things, stabbing things, water leaks. So try it at your own discretion.
I don't recommend it. Okay, so I've been told that these are pitchers and catchers, so they only have to make one part. So each half of it has a big hole and a little hole, which the screw goes in the big hole, and then it comes out the little hole the other side.
There's way too much talking about pitching, catching, and holes in this conversation. Okay, to free up this room here, the old discharge hose from the air gap came to here, and that tied up all this space with a big hose. So we're going to change this plumbing, and we're going to route the discharge for the dishwasher into this spot right there on the disposal. But first, we have to make it go through. Nothing a couple whacks with a hammer can't fix. All right, now it's all it is left is to connect these two to this, and we are done. Oh, plus the cleanup, and plus we have to do something about this. This is looking pretty ugly. All right, if you're doing any amount of DIY plumbing work, cutting hose, gardening stuff, you want to get a pair of these. They are a ratcheting PVC pipe cutter, and they make nice clean cuts in PVC pipe. For this one, I gotta stop and look. This one goes up to, well, it doesn't say, but I think it's inch or so. And these make cutting plastic pipe so much easier, especially in a job like this. No more sawing, no more cutting with a blade, which is really shady to me. If you're doing any kind of big plumbing, they make bigger ones too, so.
Well, as with all do-it-yourself home improvement, this was more of an adventure than we expected. So we got everything all hooked up, and we were doing the water testing, and the faucet, while we were doing our water testing, the handle was leaking and there was a leak from underneath. So we were thinking to ourselves, oh no, the cartridge is bad. So Chris totally disassembled the whole thing, and we went to our local hardware supply stores, multiple, looking for a replacement cartridge for this off-brand sink we apparently have, and couldn't find it. So feeling dejected, we came home, And he was going to put it back together enough just so we could use it a little bit while we figure out whether we're ordering a replacement or just going to go grab something. So he puts the cartridge back in and tightens everything up, and it's not leaking anymore. So we're going to roll with it. One thing we are going to order are clips for the sink, because I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this in the video, but the faucet wiggles. And if you get real, it also moves when we use the soap. The whole back of the sink like lifts up. So we were investigating underneath the sink, and there's no sink clips under there. They just, I don't know, siliconed and set the sink in because it's a top mount. We're also going to get a sink liner, probably one of the really good plastic, really heavy ones that are formed and have a little bit of a slope on them toward the front, so that if there are any leaks back there, the water comes towards the front and you know that you've got a leak back there. And then I think that wraps up this project. So it definitely needed it. All of the plastics had seen their whole lives, and the O-rings were in bad shape. So I'm glad we tore it apart, even though we've had to invest in some extra parts. And but now it's going to be a more modern look and has a little bit more functionality, and we know that it's going to be safe and functional for many years to come.